Hey everybody, welcome to Math in Minutes. I'm here with the YouTube video for practice on our class concept that we worked on January the 10th. We worked on converting fractions to decimals and comparing fractions and decimals. So this is a concept that we are building upon. We originally started with something that looked like this. So 4/10 is 4/10 in decimal form. There's 1 0, so one place value after the decimal point. Fraction tells me there has to be a decimal point because it's part of a whole. And then I put my numerator in the blank. So 4/10 in decimal form is 0.4. We also worked on this. We worked on converting hundredths, fractions of hundredths to decimal points. So we have a decimal point. There are 2 zeros, so 2 place values. And then we just place our numerator in the blanks. 40 hundredths is equal to 0.40. These are equivalent. They have the same value, or they show the same, they take up the same amount of space. Let me show you what I mean by this. So this is 4/10, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then here, this is equal to 40. And this is here. So they take the same amount of shaded space. This one is hundredths on the bottom. This one is equal to tenths. So we worked on converting fractions and decimals. We also worked on comparing fractions and decimals and changing fractions of tenths to hundredths and hundredths to tenths and decimals from tenths to hundredths. For example, if we have 40 or 4/10 and we want to change that to 100, mathematically we would multiply the top and bottom by 10 because 10 times 10 is equal to 100. And then we would multiply the top times 10. 4 times 10 is equal to 40. So 4/10 is equivalent to 40 100ths. Now this is the mathematical way to do this. Honestly, when we are doing this, I tell the kids, 4/10, you add a 0 to the top, 0 to the bottom, you get the same answer. So this is the quick snap of doing that. In the opposite, if we had, let's say, 70 100ths, and I wanted to change this to a tenths, or a tenth fraction, I would divide both the top and bottom by 10. Whatever I do the top, I do the bottom. 100 divided by 10 is 10. 70 divided by 10 is 7. And this is the same thing as saying 70 over 100, 0 on the top, 0 on the bottom, 7/10. So the students need to understand the relationship of 4/10 and 40 100ths, that they are equal, to also understand that 0.4 is equivalent to 0.40. Let's look at that in a place value chart. And this is the way we have children compare decimals. It's real quick and easy. This is our ones place, our whole numbers. Our decimal points always line up when comparing, adding, or subtracting decimals. Our tenths place and our hundredths place. Tenths and hundredths are different from tens and hundreds. Tens and hundreds represent a whole number. Tenths and hundredths, those THS, represents part of a whole. So this is like your coins or your change that you would use in money, and these are your whole dollar bills. So if I have 0.4 and I have 0.40, you look at the largest value, which would be my tenths, because remember, when we look at greatest values of numbers, we always we start with our furthest place to the left, and we move to the right because this is the greatest and this is the least. So there's nothing here, so we're going to go to our tenths. These are equivalent. Now we go to our hundredths. There's a 0 here and there's nothing here. Nothing still represents 0. So these two numbers are exactly the same. There is a lot of students who missed the exit ticket yesterday, and I do want to go over that on this video so that everyone can understand why they missed it. But if you put it in a place value chart, you can see 4s are the same, and a 0 is the same as a blank. So 0 is equal to a blank space. They're equivalent. Space, S-P-A-C-E. All right, so let's go over the exit ticket for yesterday. Our exit ticket stated, let me get in here. David walked 0.5 kilometers from his home to the library. What fraction is equivalent? So this is what I know, and this is what they're asking. What fraction is equivalent? So I'm just going to put equal. So it gives me 4 answer options, and this is how I would attack this problem. It gives me 5 100ths. C is 55 100ths. B is 50 100ths. And D is 50 tenths. All right, so since in my problem it's asking me which one basically matches this, which one is equivalent to 0.5, I'm going to go through each answer option and I'm going to convert, this is the strategy, the work that we taught them, convert this fraction into a decimal. So I'm starting with A. There's 2 zeros in my denominator, 0, 0, so 2 place values. The 5 is over 100, and this is my hundredths place, so the 5 goes here, and a 0 goes here. Looking at this, 0.05, so I'm going to do a place value chart actually, so we can see them all lined up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Didn't need that last one. Tenths, hundredths. All right, so my problem is 0.5. That's what I know. And now I'm going to put in answer A, which is 0.05. So looking at this one, answer A cannot be an option because there should be a 5 here. Let's go to answer C. So I have 2 place values, 2 zeros, 2 place values, and I'm going to put the numerator here. Let me put that on my chart. 55. So looking here, the 5s do match. Looking here, there's nothing in a 5. C is not correct. Now let's look at B. 2 place values, and then I'm putting my numerator. Let me look here. 5 and 0. 5 here. 5 here, nothing and 0. Nothing and 0 are the same. So my answer option should be B. I'm going to go ahead and check D just in case. So I have 1 place value because there's a 10, and I have 50, so the 0 goes here, the 5 goes before. So this one should be 5.0. Well, that's definitely wrong. So now that I have worked through all my answers, I'm able to see that B is the exact value or equivalent to the amount of distance he walked in decimal. So that is what the exit ticket was for that. Now I want to give the students a couple of questions and then a practice. So we are going to convert tenths to hundredths. And the reason why we're doing this is to recognize that the tenths and the hundredths should have the same value. 10 tenths, 9 tenths, 12 tenths. Convert hundredths to tenths. 50 hundredths, 70 hundredths, 10 hundredths. Convert fractions to decimals. 5/10, 17 hundredths, 9/10. Convert decimals to fractions. 0.68, 0.50, 0.7. So this is the practice that they will have to work on. I hope this video helps. If you have any questions, put it down in the comments. Thanks for watching.